You ever wonder what the world's most successful companies really have in common? I mean, it's not just about flashy tech or perfect market timing, right? Well, we're about to uncover the one measurable advantage that truly separates the winners from everyone else.
But first, let's set the stage with a quick question. Think about all the companies that launch every single year. Out of all of them, what percentage do you think are actually still around 3 decades later? Just take a guess.
The answer? According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, it's just 13%. Yeah, that's it. For every 100 businesses that start, only 13 get to see their 30th birthday. It just goes to show you, the stakes for survival are incredibly high.
Okay, so that number immediately begs the question, why is it so hard to last? Well, in today's world, businesses are facing pressure from all sides. It's what we can call the survival challenge.
You see leaders everywhere scrambling for an advantage. They're looking at AI, they're looking at new tech, and trying to navigate these crazy market strategies. But here's the fascinating thing the data shows. While everyone's focused on the tech, they're often completely overlooking the most fundamental ingredient for long-term success.
So, what is this secret ingredient? It's something that, might sound a little soft, but believe me, its impact is incredibly hard. It's what we call the trust advantage.
And look, when we say trust, we're not just talking about some vague, nice feeling. We're defining it as a strategic foundation. It's all about creating an environment where better outcomes for your people directly fuel stronger results for the business. It's a real performance driver.
So, let's get to the proof, the hard numbers. This chart here compares the stock market performance of your average large company, that's the Russell 1000 index, against the publicly traded companies on the Fortune 100 Best Companies to Work For list. And the result? Over 27 years, the high-trust companies outperform the market by a factor of 3.5. That's not a small difference, folks. That is a massive, sustained advantage.
Okay, so you're probably wondering, how does this actually work? Right? How does trust translate into cold, hard profit? Well, it happens through a mechanism we call the great place to work effect. And it's actually a pretty clear, repeatable pattern. It all starts with great leadership. We're talking leaders who are actively, deliberately building trust. This, in turn, shapes a positive employee experience. And that experience, when it's consistent for everyone, creates a high-trust culture. And that culture is what ultimately drives outsized business performance. You see? It's a direct chain of events.
And the results of that chain are just staggering. It's not just about the stock market. Companies on that Fortune 100 Best list, they generate 8.5 times more revenue per employee than the typical U.S. company. I mean, just think about what that means for a second. It's a monumental leap in productivity, efficiency, and innovation, all of it fueled by that culture of trust.
And hey, this isn't just some abstract theory. John Burke, the CEO of Trek Bicycle, he says it himself very plainly. He sees that direct link between leadership and results. He says, the best leaders have the best great place to work scores. The data inside his own company proves the connection. It's that simple.
All right, let's make this even more concrete. Let's look at how this all plays out in the real world with a couple of really powerful stories of transformation. Let's start with Hilton. Back in 2008, right in the middle of the Great Recession, they were in a serious crisis. A new CEO came in and put culture at the absolute heart of their turnaround strategy. By 2013, that intense focus led to the biggest hotel IPO in history. Fast forward to 2018, and their private equity partner walks away with a $14 billion profit, and this whole journey, it culminates in them being ranked the #1 company on the Fortune 100 Best Companies list.
And Hilton's CEO, Chris Nassetta, he just sums up their journey perfectly. He says, I think of trust as the ultimate form of resiliency for a business. And he's right. It's what allowed them to not just survive a crisis, but to come out the other side and absolutely thrive.
Now, for a different kind of story, let's talk about Mosaic Consulting Group. They faced a problem that I'm sure is familiar to a lot of businesses out there: high employee turnover, and it was costing them a fortune.
So, what did they do? They decided to really focus on building trust. And the result? Over just 4 years, they saved $8 million. Not by increasing sales, but simply by reducing turnover. That's not revenue. That's cash that went straight to their bottom line, freed up for them to grow. So, how'd they do it? Well, it was a really smart, data-driven process. First, they actually calculated the real cost of losing an employee, and it was a stunning 120% of that person's salary. Then they used employee feedback to find the exact points where trust was breaking down. By fixing those specific issues, they slashed turnover, saved millions, and then, and this is the best part, they reinvested that money directly into growing the business.
So, what's the bottom line here? It's this. Investing in a high-trust culture isn't a cost center. It's an engine for growth that has an exponential impact across your entire business.
And this data right here just makes the difference crystal clear. In these high-trust certified workplaces, 81% of employees can quickly adapt to change, compared to just 64% at a typical company. You've got 85% willing to give extra effort, versus only 60% elsewhere. And get this, the ratio of empowered innovators to those facing friction literally doubles. That means more agility, more productivity, and way more innovation.
At the end of the day, the conclusion from decades of research is just undeniable. A high-trust culture is not a soft benefit. It's not a nice-to-have. It is a hard, measurable, strategic advantage that drives real financial performance.
Which really just leaves one final question for you to think about. When you look at your own organization, is a lack of trust your biggest hidden risk, or is building it your greatest untapped asset? The choice and the advantage is yours to claim.